What up? It's time for some Ask FP, and I done hit you with a lot of draft class videos, and I'm almost done with that Ultimate Legends roster. But for right now, let's jump into these questions. I got a ton of them, so I'm gonna be moving fast. Justin says, "Are you going to go to Extreme Rules in Chicago? If so, what matches do you want and expect to happen?" I'm not going. I wish I was going. I expect to see a Dean Ambrose match because if it's Extreme Rules, right about now he's really kind of taking over as that guy. You know who I would love to see in the Extreme Rules match? Let Fandango kind of get some love. I got a question coming up on Fandango a little bit later, but I think something like that might help him. Brandon Knowles says, "What are your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles trading LaShawn McCoy to the Bills for Kiko Alonso?" I think it makes sense. Chip Kelly is trying to really go crazy with guys he's familiar with on his team. I don't know how that's gonna work or whatever, but I'm not a person that puts a whole ton of stock in great running backs. I acknowledge McCoy is a great running back, but I think that's the most replaceable position in the NFL. Beast Mode says, "Should college athletes be paid for their services?" Absolutely. I don't think they should be paid according to their talent level. I think they should all get paid the same amount of money for the amount of time that they devote and the amount of money that they bring into the institutions themselves. Other kids are allowed to have jobs in association with their scholarships. Essentially, college athletes already have a job, but they just don't get paid for it. Beast Mode also says, "Who do you see Phil Jackson selecting if the Knicks win the lottery?" Right now, the consensus number one is Jahlil Okafor. And y'all stay tuned for that NBA draft class that I'm doing on NBA 2K15. But I think D'Angelo Russell is really creeping up. If he has a strong NCAA tournament, maybe 1 or 2 games where he plays really well, he might be the guy. Next up, we got another one from Beast Mode. He says, "Does Duke have enough to make the Final Four? If not, who do you see making it?" Absolutely, they have enough to make it. Will they make it? That's a totally different story. I really can't answer that question until after Selection Sunday. And give a really an honest or educated type of a guess, because we don't know who's going to go to which region. We can look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology and he kind of gives us a little bit of a hint, but we don't know for sure yet. But Duke should definitely be a number 1 seed somewhere, so we'll see what happens once that goes. Kiko for President says, "Is Ricky Williams Hall of Fame worthy?" Absolutely not. Are you serious? No, he's not. I mean, he was a Hall of Fame talent for sure. But he did. I mean, what did he have? 2, 3, maybe 2 or 3 1,000-yard seasons in his career? No, not at all. And Ricky Williams was one of my favorite running backs in college. I thought he was a beast. But no, he didn't do anything. Not for that. So no, not at all. Kiko for President also says, "Can Mariota fall to the Bears at 7, or is it the Jets who will take him?" I don't know if the Jets take him. I think he goes at 6 because the Eagles probably try to trade up to get him. If the Bears want Mariota, they have to trade up to number 2 to get him. They're going to have to go to the Tennessee Titans and say, "Hey, we want Mariota." I think that's the only way to get him. I don't know if they can get him trading up to any other spot. Jovan Radovanovic, my guy, says, "Vlade Divac became vice president of basketball operations for the Kings. You think they would start getting more European players?" I do think so. I think that helps them even sign European free agents who may be interested in coming over to the NBA, maybe not via the draft. I think that just helps endear them overall from an international standpoint. I think it's a pretty smart move, and he's an ex-King, so makes sense. Next up, we got Simon Torvey Sunland. He says, "Do you think that Coach Brian Shaw should have been allowed to coach the Nuggets until the end of the season?" No, I don't. Wouldn't say it would have been a horrible thing, but why would you allow him to? I mean, team wasn't winning. They looked like they were about ready to quit. Not only were they not winning, so nah. I mean, he'll get another job pretty soon. So I always think back to something Scott Skiles said when he got fired from the Bulls. He was like, "It's not like I'm destitute or anything." None of these coaches are hungry. So Simon Torvey Sunland also says, "Do you think that someone will overtake Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time NBA scoring record leader or whatever?" I don't know, man. It's going to probably have to be a big man because it puts too much wear and tear on the smaller guys, the guards and stuff, to do it. So it's going to have to be a big man. So you got to look at a big man who gets going really early in his career. So I don't know. Kyle Salzman says, any thoughts on Joe Montana football 16? The little flash we saw looked decent. Not enough for me to really have a major opinion about it. I'm glad just to see somebody trying to make another football game, if that's indeed is the case. So, but yeah, I don't have any strong thoughts one way or the other just yet. We'll see what happens in the next, few months. African Internet, that is a heck of a Twitter handle. But African Internet says, how do you think the pitcher from the A's that throws with both arms will be implemented in MLB The Show? I don't even know. That might be just, can they do that? I don't even know if they have it set up where they can actually do that, especially not like if they weren't planning on it from the beginning, because that may not be as simple as we think it is. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. The Great Patriot says, if and when Tom Brady becomes, in his Booker T voice, five-time champion, will he become undoubtedly the greatest player that played the game? The Great Patriot, you need to stop. You need to really stop. You know that man ain't the greatest player that ever played the game. He is great. He's an awesome quarterback. But 5 champions, stop it. You gonna stop it. Go and sit down somewhere. Stop saying that crazy stuff. Know that man is bad. Austin Bolin says, what all are the teams, which teams basically you think are championship contenders in the NBA this season? I think Cleveland. I think the Bulls. I think Atlanta, Golden State, and Oklahoma City, and the Spurs. I think those are the real serious contenders. There's some other good teams, but I think those are the serious teams. And Memphis, I throw Memphis in there too. So, Maz Scantlin says, do you think, here we go, Fandango will ever get a WWE push, perhaps at Money in the Bank, briefcase, or US or IC title? By the way, love your vids. Thank you, sir. I think that could definitely happen. I think they need to stop trying to make him look sultry or whatever they're doing with him. I don't know what that is. Stop it. Put on a shirt or something. Wear a hoodie or something. I don't know what's wrong with it, but they need to stop that. Chris Typhoon says, opinions on Len Bias from a player and person standpoint, and would you put him on the Legends roster? Well, no, I'm not going to put him on the Legends roster. I've answered this question before in the comment section of the videos. I kind of wanted to keep it light, and those like Len Bias, Reggie Lewis, that's like some real tragic stuff that hurts my heart kind of stuff. Ben Wilson, all that. So I wanted to keep it fun. I don't really, know a whole ton about them outside of what mostly everybody else knows. It's just one of them things. It's just an absolute shame, that it took place. But it teaches you can make a mistake one time, and so that's why you gotta watch what you do. King Margalo says, do you think Madden will use the NCAA team builder for the created team to include it in the connected franchise? I sure hope they do. I mean, man, that team builder is still to this day the best created team suite ever. I think every single sports game should use a created suite just like that. Jose Bejarano, maybe that's how you're supposed to say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. He says, you may have touched on this before, but is it possible to scan more than one face in NBA 2K15? My kids want to be on my team. No, you can scan more than one face, but you can't bring them into the same save. You definitely can't use them on my team if that's what you were referring to. But you couldn't scan another face and then have them jump into your my player. No, it doesn't work that way, or any other roster. I hope they put that in next year, though. Corey Cochran says, is MLB 15 The Show worth getting this year, or just a graphical update along with the licensed equipment? Well, I haven't played it yet, but graphical update I think is definitely there. Licensed equipment is there, but they've done a lot of stuff just with the way franchise mode works, and Diamond Dynasty especially, and some other stuff with gameplay. So I think gotta wait to play it first. Austin Bolin says, in your opinion, who are the top 10 greatest power forwards of all time? I don't know if I can go top 10, but I can tell you Kevin Garnett, to me, in his prime, is the best. Tim Duncan is right there with him. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone is there, even though I don't think as much of him as a lot of people do, but he's definitely there. Depending on what you call Elvin Hayes, I'd say he's there. So those are mine. But Anthony Davis is on his way, so that you know. Dallas Waganet. I hope I didn't say that wrong. He says, what do you think of the White Sox and or Cubs making the playoffs, or at least contending this year? I think this is one of them strange, crazy years in Chicago where both teams have a legitimate opportunity to contend to make the playoffs. It would be awesome. But yeah, I think it's possible. I like what both of the teams are doing. Jovan Radovanovic is back. He says, what do you think of Nikola Mirotic's season so far? I've been very impressed. I think that had he gotten consistent minutes the entire season, he'd be the odds-on favorite for the Rookie of the Year. I do think he's limited by his lack of athleticism. He can't explode. He can't really finish with power or above the rim at all. And so that hinders him a little bit. But skill-wise, he's really, really, really talented. So I'm impressed. Jovan's back again. He says, do you think that Ray Allen will play next season, or do you think he will retire? I don't know, man. I think he might just retire. Trying to come back at 40, 41 years old after you sat out an entire season, even for somebody who keeps themselves in ridiculously great shape like Ray Allen, that still might be a little bit difficult. And the more he gets used to staying at home with the family, the harder it's going to be to walk away, The Great Patriot has got jokes today. He says, how long do you think you would last in the octagon against Ronda Rousey? He said he got 20 seconds. Well, I don't think she could catch me in 20 seconds even if I decided to run. But the other thing is, Ronda Rousey weighs 135 pounds. I literally weigh twice what she weighs. So I understand judo is about leverage and all of that, and I ain't going to say I can beat her or nothing like that. I wouldn't be fighting her no way. Any man fights, but I hate these questions, period, though. Because it's like a no-win situation. If you say, I'll beat Ronda Rousey in her mouth, then you're a dude who wants to smack on the girl. If you get in there with her and she beats you, then you're a dude that got beat up by a girl. This is why it's just ridiculous. Anyway, Jordan Newhook says, will you be doing an online franchise with your subs in the MLB to show, in MLB 15 to show? Probably not. I'm pretty sure I won't. I don't like online franchises, to be honest. I love the concept. The idea is dope. But people never show up. You end up having to simulate somebody's games. It just sucks, Just one of them unrealistic but cool options. Blue Eyes White Gleesh. I have no idea, but thank you, sir. Whatever. Who's going to lose first, Rousey, Jones, or Aldo? That's a really good question. Wow. I would probably say, if I had to guess right now, Aldo. That's what I would probably say. It's tough, though. It was a good question. Gene Adams says, do you have the Order 1886? If so, can you post vids of you playing on PS4? I do, man. I had it, man. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. That game is it's kind of nice to look at. But you find yourself, that's pretty much what you're doing the whole time. It's like not enough actual gameplay. There's a lot of, the real-time action events where you hit the button now for something fall on you. That kind of stuff. But it's not enough like playing, and I wasn't impressed, and I was actually quite disappointed because I was really looking forward to it. Gene Adams says, FP, with the re-signing of Cobb, do you think the Green Bay Packers will make it to the Super Bowl? I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. I think that Seattle still looks nasty in the nastiest way. Getting Jimmy Graham, oh my God, as if Russell Wilson needed somebody else. A safety blanket like that, oh yeah, it's looking nasty in here. Shamar says, do you consider Dwight Howard a superstar? Absolutely. Dwight Howard don't have to do another thing. I said this in the video, actually, Legends video that y'all probably didn't even see yet. But I say he don't have to get another rebound, block another shot, dunk another basketball. He's a Hall of Famer already. 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year awards, or 5 rebound titles, led the league in block shots 2 or 3 times. Whatever, man. Forget about it. Brandon Noel says, what new sponsors do you think will be in EA Sports UFC 2? Well, you can bet on Reebok. I think pretty much everyone that was involved in that new deal with the UFC is probably going to be in. That's probably going to be just, like already agreed upon kind of a thing. Like, yeah, this is that might have even been a part of the deal that they signed from the very beginning. Told Reebok that they were going to be in the game. So that's what I expect to be there. Brandon Knowles says, who do you think can beat Ronda Rousey? Well, there's always somebody who can beat anybody, So everybody got somebody that can beat them, right? I just don't think we know who that is for Ronda. And I don't think it's Cyborg. I think Cyborg's big and strong, and if they stayed on the feet, it would be maybe a potential issue for Ronda. But I just don't think Cyborg can keep the fight from going to the ground. And once it goes to the ground, she's popped. So there it is. Big Kev says, is Abdul-Jabbar on the 70-71 Bucks on your roster? No, he's on the regular Bucks because I didn't do it like by the year of the team or whatever. I got like it's set up with like all-time Bucks. But I'm totally expecting people to do fantasy drafts with it, so it don't even really matter what team they're on. But if you don't do a fantasy draft, then Brandon says, do you think the strawweight division will be in EA Sports UFC 2, and will you be getting an Xbox 2 or a PS5? Man, that just don't even sound right coming out. PS5. Yeah, I do think it's going to be in EA Sports UFC 2. And yeah, absolutely. When those systems come out, I'm there. I'm a vidiot like that. I'm going to get it regardless. I got to have it. So yeah, I'll have the newest systems whenever they come out, like in the year 2080. HDG Ball Out says, do you think that Elfrid Payton could win Rookie of the Year? Who should Orlando draft? And have a good day. God bless. God bless you too, brother or sister. I don't know. Whatever. Do you think Elfrid Payton could win Rookie of the Year? No, absolutely not. No way in the world. He can't shoot a skill in the ocean right now. I mean, he's very active and fast and good hands and everything like that, but no. Who should Orlando draft? I think they need a wing player or a power forward. I don't know if you can trust Aaron Gordon, which HDG Ball Out's going right into that. Since a lot of people say drafting Aaron Gordon was a bad mistake, do you think he could be a star or just an injury case? I do think he can be a star in the mold of a Sean Marion type player. I could see that. But the injuries do start to make you a little bit concerned. But I really like what Orlando's doing. I think they need another point guard who can actually score. I don't know if you can depend on Elfrid Payton to develop that, but I like what they're doing a lot. Brandon Knowles says, who could be the next possible contender for Nikki Bella? I don't know, man. The Divas division is in hot trash right now. But you know what's going to be funny? Because I 100% believe Ronda Rousey is going to end up in the WWE, right, at some point. Who's she going to take the title from? That is going to be hilarious. Like, the person going to get beaten in like 10 seconds. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. It's going to be like the answer to a trivia question. Jalen Cook says, do you have a dream team in hockey? If so, who would be on it? Oh, man, that's kind of difficult. Gretzky, Prime, Ovechkin. And I'm trying to go, centers and wings. So I'm trying to stay within it that way. I'm trying to think of another one. Brett Hall, maybe Ray Bork and Chris Chelios, and probably in the net, in his prime, Javi Bulin. Nah, Brodeur in his prime. Brandon Knowles says, do you think the UFC should have a super fight card and have EA Sports started on EA Sports UFC 2? I don't know if they've started on it. I don't like super fight cards at all. Keep it in the division. Don't do all that goofy stuff. If somebody, either you come up and wait or go down. Get out of my face with that. No, I don't need it. See, I got aggressive right there, right? Noah Jensen says, recently strong backcourts have had success. Michigan with Burke and Hardaway Jr., Louisville with Smith and Siva, Kentucky with Harrison's, UConn with Napier and Boatwright. Who would you say has the best backcourt in the country, and can they win the national championship? Like Iowa State's backcourt a lot. You know whose backcourt I really like? Georgia State. Ryan Harrow and R.J. Hunter. You got to watch them. I'm telling you, that's a big-time threat in terms of a Cinderella. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going Kentucky to win it all anyway, so it's whatever. Matt Price says, will Mike Conley Jr. ever make an all-star team, or is the West too deep at the guard spot? I do think that's the problem. I mean, who does he beat? I mean, you got Lillard, you got Paul, you got Westbrook. You know, look at Tony Parker over there. I mean, it's just stacked. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Matt Price also says, with Shady going to the Bills and Sue to the Dolphins, do Pats still win the AFC East? Yes, I do. I think so. Barring some sort of major injury. I mean, they're some machine, man. They're a machine. They're a machine. Long as Tom Brady is there and capable, and he's with Belichick, and they still got the offensive line that they have, yeah, they're the best team. They're the best team in the division. KC Deportes says, who would you pick for MVP? Curry, Westbrook, Harden, or LeBron? Thanks for your amazing videos. Cheers from Mexico. Cheers to you, sir. I be honest with you, it would be Harden. I would take Harden right now. If I had to cast an MVP vote right now, it would be James Harden. What he's done without Dwight Howard is, to me, more impressive. Curry has Clay. Westbrook, I think, is gaining. I think that they need to get to like the number 6 seed, though, for him to really get it. Brian Cyrus says, do you fear that Derrick Rose is the next Penny Hardaway or Brandon Roy or Tracy McGrady? I don't. I just don't want. I'm a little, obviously concerned. But you know what? I'm crazy, because I care more about Derrick Rose, the person, than what he can do for the Bulls. And call me crazy, stupid, or whatever you want to say. But I just want him to be cool. All right, he's from the same bricks that I'm from, and I want him to be cool. Whatever it is. Brandon Cage says, if you were the Jets, what would you do in free agency in the first couple rounds of the draft? What should they do with the quarterback situation? I think they should give Geno another chance with a more capable offense. In free agency, I think they need to get him weapons. Yes, they got Brandon Marshall, but I think adding another one would be good. In the first couple rounds, they need to make sure that they get the right type of attacking defense to take some pressure off the offense. So I would target defense in the first portion of the draft and offensive line. Trevor Allen says, thoughts on Wyatt Undertaker build-up so far? I don't like it. I mean, it's not that I don't like the idea of the match. I totally get it. But I'm getting tired of seeing Bray Wyatt deliver these long soliloquies by himself. I'm just tired of it. I'm just, they just played him out. It's not him. It's the WWE more so than him. Trevor Allen says the biggest overpay so far in free agency. I don't even know, really. I'm thinking, what I'm hoping? It's not the case. The Bears signed McPhee from Baltimore, and I just was really looking at him over the season. He had 7.5 sacks last season, right? But if you look at everybody he had a sack against, they was all teams with horrible offensive lines. So I'm hoping that's not the biggest overpay. Trevor Allen says, where do you predict the Bulls will be seed-wise by season's end? Fourth in the East is what I predict. It could be better, but they hurting bad right now. I mean, you missing 3 of your best players. It's hard. I don't care how much Tibbs talking about. We got more than enough. No, you don't, Tibbs. You don't have more than enough. You got less than what you need. Stop saying that. So, we'll see what happens. Trevor Allen says, the movie you're looking forward to most in 2015. That's interesting. Will Smith has a movie coming out. A couple movies that's coming out that I was interested in. One of them in particular is about Dave Duerson, former Bear, who, he's not playing Dave Duerson, but he, former Bear who committed suicide after suffering from post-traumatic syndrome, post-concussion syndrome, I'm sorry. So that one looked interesting. Hunter says, 2K16 series idea for you. Pick a random NBA season and create all the players from that year. Yeah, that sounds good, but Hunter, that'll take me. I'll be ready for a nursing home or something by the time I finish. That is pretty long there. Yeah, that's a long time, because think about it. Say if I picked the 84 season or something, right? I'd have to make every single player on every single team because none of them are on the game or something. That would be tough. Sports Topic says, who do you want the Bears to sign this offseason? Oh man, a backup quarterback who can legitimately come in and play if Cutler is not what we want. That's one thing. That would be cool. I would like to see if they would take some kind of a look into Andre Johnson. I mean, you traded Brandon Marshall for a bag of shoelaces. So, I would like to see them add another receiver. Jacob Trizos says, what do you think of Brandon Marshall trade, and do you think Jay Cutler should stay? Good segue. The Brandon Marshall trade I didn't really like because I understand they said he was a problem and what I understand, but I would like to have seen John Fox and his coaching staff get an opportunity to regulate Brandon Marshall's talking. I mean, he ain't killing nobody. He ain't getting into whatever kind of trouble. Whatever. Jay Cutler staying, to be honest with you, the perfect scenario for me would have been for the Bears to do a mega trade that allowed for them to give Cutler to the Tennessee Titans and then also move the number two spot to take Mariota. That didn't happen, so it's whatever. I appreciate y'all watching a lot. Please subscribe. God bless. Peace.